Did you know there's a sound so loud it can kill you, but humans can't hear it? It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but it's very real. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the world of sound, decibels, and the silent killer known as infrasound. First, let's get a handle on what loud actually means. Sound is essentially a vibration, a pressure wave that travels through a medium like air. We measure the intensity of this pressure wave in units called decibels, or dB for short. The decibel scale is logarithmic, which is a fancy way of saying it grows incredibly fast. A whisper is around 30 decibels. A normal conversation is about 60 decibels. A rock concert? That's pushing 120 decibels. At this level, you're already in the territory of causing immediate and permanent hearing damage. A jet engine taking off a few hundred feet away is about 140 decibels, which is physically painful. So, how loud is lethal? The generally accepted threshold for a sound wave to be deadly to a human is around 185 to 200 decibels. At this intensity, the pressure waves are so powerful they don't just vibrate your eardrums, they vibrate your entire body. A 185 decibels sound wave can rupture your lungs, causing a fatal air embolism where bubbles of air enter your bloodstream and travel to your heart or brain. It's a terrifying thought. The sheer force of the pressure can literally tear your internal organs apart. Imagine being hit by a solid object, but instead, it's an invisible wave of pure energy. That's what we're talking about here. Now, you might be thinking, what could possibly create a sound that loud? The most powerful sound ever recorded on Earth was from the 1883 eruption of the Krakatoa volcano. This cataclysmic event generated a sound estimated at 310 decibels at its source. It was heard over 3,000 miles away. People 100 miles away had their eardrums ruptured. The pressure wave from this sound circled the globe multiple times. If you were anywhere near that eruption, the sound alone would have been instantly fatal. Other sources of such extreme sounds include large-scale explosions, like the Tunguska event in 1908, or the detonation of nuclear weapons. The Tsar Bomba, the most powerful nuclear weapon ever tested, created a shockwave that was unbelievably intense. These are the kinds of events that generate sound levels far beyond anything we can comprehend. But here's where it gets really strange. What if a sound was just as powerful, but you couldn't even hear it? This brings us to the concept of frequency. Frequency is measured in hertz, or Hz, and it tells us how many times a sound wave vibrates per second. Humans can typically hear sounds between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz. Anything below 20 Hz is called infrasound. It's too low for our ears to perceive as a distinct pitch. And anything above 20,000 Hz is ultrasound, which many animals like dogs and bats can hear, but we can't. So, infrasound is silent to us. But just because we can't hear it doesn't mean it's not there. And it certainly doesn't mean it has no effect on us. Infrasound is all around us. It's generated by natural phenomena like earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, avalanches, and even large ocean waves. It's also produced by man-made sources like wind turbines, diesel engines, and explosions. The really fascinating and slightly unsettling part is what infrasound does to the human body. Even at low, non-lethal levels, infrasound can cause some very weird effects. People exposed to low-frequency sounds have reported feelings of unease, anxiety, sorrow, and even a sense of a presence in the room. This has led some researchers to label infrasound as the fear frequency. One of the most famous researchers in this field was Vic Tandy in the 1990s. Tandy was working in a lab that was supposedly haunted. Staff reported feeling depressed, cold, and seeing strange shadowy figures out of the corner of their eyes. Being a scientist, Tandy was skeptical. One day, he was working on a fencing foil, and he noticed it was vibrating wildly on its own. He discovered that a new fan installed in the lab was emitting a standing wave of infrasound at a frequency of about 19 Hz, right on the edge of human hearing. This frequency also happens to be very close to the resonant frequency of the human eyeball. What does that mean? It means the 19 Hz sound wave was causing his eyeballs to vibrate slightly. This vibration could create optical illusions, like seeing gray smudges or figures in your peripheral vision. The so-called ghosts were just a trick of the light, caused by a sound no one could hear. This discovery solved the mystery of his haunted lab and opened up a whole new area of study. This phenomenon is often cited as a possible explanation for many paranormal sightings and haunted house experiences. Imagine that feeling of being watched could just be a low-frequency hum from your air conditioning unit. But what happens when you crank up the volume on infrasound? Let's go back to that lethal 180, 5 decibel level. If a sound wave at a frequency we can hear, say 1000 Hz, is at 185 decibels, it's deadly. If a silent wave, c'est à 15 décibels, if now more sud-ouest. The destructive power of the pressure wave is the same, regardless of frequency. The only difference is you wouldn't hear your own demise. It would be a silent, invisible force that could rupture your internal organs and stop your heart. This has led to a lot of speculation about infrasonic weapons. The idea is to create a weapon that can incapacitate or even kill people over a wide area using low-frequency sound. Without the collateral damage of a conventional explosion, the sound would pass through walls and buildings, affecting people inside. While there's a lot of myth and secrecy surrounding this topic, the basic physics is sound, no pun intended. Governments and military organizations have definitely researched the effects of infrasound. However, creating a focused beam of high-intensity infrasound that can be aimed like a weapon is incredibly difficult. It requires massive amounts of energy and very large equipment, making it impractical for most battlefield scenarios. For now, it remains largely in the realm of theory and science fiction. But we do have real-world examples of infrasound's power. Whales, especially blue whales and fin whales, are masters of infrasound. They can produce incredibly loud, low-frequency calls that can travel for hundreds, even thousands of miles through the ocean. These calls, which are far below the range of human hearing, can reach up to 188 decibels. That's louder than a jet engine and right at that lethal threshold. Luckily for us, sound loses intensity as it travels through a medium, and water is a much denser medium than air. So, unless you're swimming right next to a blue whale when it decides to shout, you're probably safe. But it's a stunning example of the power of infrasound in nature. So, to recap, sound can be lethal at around 185 decibels. This is a level of pressure so intense it can physically destroy your body. And this destructive power is not limited to sounds we can hear. Infrasound, with frequencies below 20 Hz, is silent to our ears but can be just as deadly if the intensity is high enough. It's the ultimate silent weapon, a force of nature that can shake us to our core, both literally and figuratively, without making a peep. The world of sound is so much more complex and powerful than most of us realize. From the unsettling vibes in a haunted room to the globe-spanning call of a blue whale, the unheard world of infrasound is a constant, powerful force. It reminds us that what we perceive with our senses is just a tiny fraction of reality. There are entire universes of energy and information all around us, completely invisible and silent. And sometimes, what you can't hear can hurt you the most. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the incredible and terrifying world of sound. It's a topic that's both fascinating and a little bit spooky. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of science. Let me know in the comments what other strange phenomena you'd like me to explore. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.